Let's take a look at this week's abstract. And I'm starting here at the backup site for the course. I'll scroll down to abstract number 10. I'm going to start by viewing the assignment. And what it says for this week is the criterion variable is willingness to take in an aging father. Your task in this assignment is to construct a correlation matrix to find the best predictor, which means the highest correlation, of willingness to take in an aging mother. So the example is going to be of an aging father. Your task is to run it with a different variable, the variable of taking in the aged mother. So wherever you see father, he, him, or his, you may consider replacing that with mother, she, or her. So that's what you're going to do. And in order to do that, we're going to use the data. So here are the data right here. We're going to download that CSV file, put it in JASP, and then create the correlation matrix. So here we have the downloaded file down here in the lower left. I'm going to click on it. It should open in Excel, assuming your computer has Excel. Now, this is the way that CSV files have to be entered into JASP. The top row labels our variables. Notice that all variables are numeric. So some of those yes, no, or male, female variables, other grouping variables have been dummy coded as ones and zeros. So here, the first variable, does the parent suffer from a mental disorder? Yes would be 1. 0 would be no. That would be a non-mental disorder, a physical disability perhaps. Variable in column B is this person, the subject filling out the questionnaire, male? 1 is yes. 0 is no. So the zeros would be the females. The next variable is the age of the subject. 1 is over age 25. 0 would be under age 25. The next variable is the subject, a parent, himself or herself. 1 would be yes. 0 would be no. Notice there are a few subjects who are parents themselves. Most are not. And then the next couple of variables, father relationships and mother relationships, are scored on a 1 to 4 scale. 1 being poor, 2 fair, 3 good, 4 excellent. Social class is scored on a 1 to 5 scale. The 1 would be poor, 2 would be working, 3 solid middle class, 4 financially secure, 5 would be wealthy. Religiosity is scored on a 1 to 3 scale. 1 is not very important. 2 is somewhat important. 3 means religion is very important. The last two variables are the willingness to take the aged father or take the aged mother into one's own home. And 4 would be definitely, 3 is probably, 2 is possibly, and 1 is no way. So notice that all of our questionnaire answers, which are all categorical, yes, no, either or ordinally scaled on a 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 scale, have now been numerically quoted for entry into JASP. So I'm going to make sure that this file is saved in a place where I can find it. I'm going to save it into my flash drive. Okay, and I'm going to get out of this particular file. And now I'm going to click on JASP and go into JASP. Your version of JASP might be a little bit newer than the one you see here. I go up here to File, Open from my computer, click on Browse. It'll probably go right to my flash drive. Caring for Aged Parents, I click on that. It uploads it. Now, one of the defaults that JASP has is to assume that most scalings are categorical. That's what this 3 circle symbol means. Let's convert each of those to ordinal, which is symbolized by the 3 bars. We have to do that in order for it to construct a Spearman correlation matrix. Okay. Now, if this were a regular project, we'd also want to get descriptives and a few other things, but we just want to do the correlation matrix right here. So, we are going to click on Regression, Correlation Matrix, and let's say we want the Spearman, not the Pearson. I also find it less confusing to click on Flag Significant Correlations rather than report the exact significance. Okay, let's say the variable we want to use as the outcome is take in an aged mother. Let's click on that variable first. Okay. Now here are all the other variables that we're going to correlate with that. So we're going to click on them and individually and move them over to those we're going to incorporate and click OK. Now I'm going to pull this over so we can see our correlation matrix better. If we look at our top row, these are all the different correlations between each of those variables and our outcome criterion variable of willingness to take the mother. We see that most of these correlations are relatively low, close to 0. Some are negative, some are positive, doesn't matter. And in other words, they are not very useful predictors of whether or not the subject is willing to take the mother. It seems that the highest correlation here, which is very high, 0.836, is the subject's willingness to take the father. So, of all the questions on the questionnaire, the one question that is the best predictor of whether the subject is willing to take on the aged mother is not whether she suffers from a mental disorder, not the age of the subject, not whether the subject is male or female, not whether the subject is a parent, not social class, not even religiosity. The quality of the relationships with mother and father growing up are somewhat important. We have correlations there. But the single most important predictor is the willingness to take the father. In other words, those people who are willing to take an aged father are willing to take an aged mother. That's the way you use a correlation matrix to figure out the best predictor of a variable.